welcome to another special episode of Nightdive Studios Deep Dive. I'm your host, Locke, and today I have a very special guest, a person who I talk to a lot, but not as much as I'd love to, and his first on the show. We have Daniel, lead producer at Nightdive. Daniel, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh man, I am so surprised we haven't done this for the X amount of games that we've worked on together. I remember you sending me, what was it, Wizardry? You sent me that screen cap.
Yes, yeah, I was rummaging around that old Dropbox drive that I had tucked away, and I was just looking, what's in this Wizardry 6 folder? And it was a text document of the credits for Nightdive back in 2013. It was Steve, me, Larry, I think, and you.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was very shortly after I had met Steve at an E3 party. It was the Polygon kickoff party. And that was probably one of the first projects we worked on together. And then fast forward X amount of projects that we've worked on, many projects.
Yeah.
We get to talk a lot offline, but yeah, the first time on the show, I'm excited. And today we're talking about Heretic plus Hexen, which by the time people see this, it is out now. It's been released. People can get their hands on it. I've been playing it. Tell me a little bit about that project from your perspective. And
oh well, yeah, it was just coming off Doom 1 plus Doom 2. We were wondering what's the next project going to be, and we had some hints about what it was, but we didn't really have any confirmation. But then we went full into it. We got the agreement. I'm like, yeah, we're doing this. Let's go straight into it. And with Doom 1 and 2, we didn't have much flexibility, really, in terms of what we could do, because they're obviously classic games, and it was an amazing experience and a privilege to work on those games. And I just want to thank id and Bethesda for letting us work on that project. It was absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't have been happier with how it turned out. But with Heretic and Hexen, we have definitely been given a little more freedom to do some things, in terms of changing some balance things, changing some level things. And I'm personally quite excited for it, actually, just to see what it was and what it has become now that we've had some really talented people look under the hood and been able to adjust some things. I think it's going to be a very special release, and another release that I am thrilled once again to be a part of. Just the history of these franchises, and to be able to leave our own mark on these things is truly something special.
Totally. It seemed like a natural progression coming from Doom 1 and 2. I remember back in the day playing the first level of Heretic on a shareware disc or something and being like, oh man, a fantasy Doom, let's go. And just like being very excited about that. And I don't think I haven't played those games since release. I didn't play the Steam releases at all. I didn't play. So when I dipped into them, I was very excited, and holy man, do they play well. Everything feels buttery smooth. Having it in the Kex engine is just such a treat. And yeah, especially Hexen is my greatest unknown, because that's the one I probably played the least, and having the different classes and stuff. And I forget who it was just explaining it to me with the classes in Hexen. It's more like thinking of less of the classes and more of just like a different loadout of weapons, because each class gets 4 weapons. So I've been just like playing with the different weapons in that. And yeah, like you said, hearing about the balance changes to things like the ice shards is really interesting, and I'm really excited, for people to be able to see what you guys have done.
My experience with the game was I wasn't a big PC gamer really until about maybe 2003, 2004. I came from the Sega school of things, so I had a Mega Drive, I had a Dreamcast, had a PlayStation in there as well. And I know that those games did come out on the Saturn. I think I don't know if I want to maybe misremember the company that did those ports, but yeah, those they did come out on the consoles. And I do remember renting
Mm,
Hexen, and I was very kind of confused at the time because I was like, I don't understand what's going on with this. Like, what do I do? I'd never really had that first person perspective before. There weren't that many games on the Mega Drive really that did that kind of stuff. It was more the PlayStation with things like
yeah,
Alien Trilogy where you had that. Um, but I was coming more of it from a sort of platforming. I was a big platformer
yeah,
lover from back then, and so when it got to about 2003, 2004, I started looking back at all of these games. So I worked kind of backwards, like with Thief 3, Deadly Shadows, working my way backwards through that series, and then just being like, oh, there's some very interesting games on this platform. I wonder what else there could be. And then I got into my Dooms and the other franchises, System Shock,
of
the
course.
original there, finding what that was about, and then dipping my toes into Heretic and Hexen, and those games haven't really been re-released. I don't
No,
think up until this point. I think the either the Saturn or the PlayStation. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but that was the last one. And you watch the Xbox showcases, and Phil Spencer will come out with his Hexen t-shirt
right.
on. And everyone's like, oh, is Hexen going to be announced? Is this finally the Xbox, reveal time for this? But yeah, it was a very nice thing to think about, and like, when could we possibly do that? And then we got given the opportunity, and playing the game for the first time, just rough as its own, nothing we've done, but I did not personally find myself really going for it very much. There was a lot of switches to find,
Yes.
and there was a lot of you've solved one third of the eighth of the puzzle, and it just, for me, in that sort of headspace back then, I kind of just dropped it and didn't really kind of go
Right.
back to it. But I think with a lot of the changes, the balance changes, and things like that we're going in there, as well as the new campaigns
Yeah.
we've got some new campaigns in there as well. Um, I think it's going to be a much more enjoyable time for a lot of people, and I'm personally particularly very excited to hear what people's responses are going to be to these new campaigns. And there's a fun story behind that. I remember for Doom and Doom 2, we had one campaign.
Yep.
And I remember just in those early days of the project thinking, oh man, well, we're doing Heretic and Hexen now. We should probably do another campaign as well. So which one should we do it for? So I pitched the idea around, and everyone was like, well, we should do one big Hexen campaign, and it's going to be fantastic. And then that sort of split somewhere down the road into being, well, why don't we're doing one thing for Hexen, right? Well, what about Heretic? We should do something for that as well. So then one campaign became two campaigns, and it was like, okay, how are we going to fit this into the time that we have allotted? But we have some extremely passionate people. You might not
Yeah.
have figured that out already, but we do have some very passionate people working here.
Yes.
And they were just like, yeah, we can do maps for this, no problem. We know the tools. We know how to do this. Just let us figure it out, and we'll do it. So I was like, okay, if you guys think this is possible, we can offer this as a package for people. So then we came along, and we have a Heretic campaign and a new Hexen campaign, which is
Yeah.
very, very exciting.
Yeah. It's very cool to see that level of trust, especially I'm an objective outsider. I'm not controlling the levers and cogs here, but like um that came up. That was a common theme of just like, okay, we're gonna let this person just do their thing, cook, make some maps. And I think
Yes.
that's very one unique and very cool. And what a way to run a company, especially a creative company, because we just see less and less of that these days. So when I heard that story and hearing, when Mtrop and Kaiser and all these guys are just doing their thing, and then you're allowing them to do that and have that creative freedom. It's just like it's really special, and that comes back to sort of the night dive sauce and just allowing people who are experts in their field be the expert and yeah, and do that. So
Yeah, they have a great mutual respect for each other as well, because they all come from the same community at the end of the day. They
right,
they know what they're about.
yeah,
And so when you put those people into that situation of, hey, we have this opportunity, go and be creative. There are really no limits here outside of what we get told from above,
true, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
there may be some restrictions there, but just you fall within those boundaries if there are any. But just go and be creative. We have new pixel artists on board now.
mhm,
We have some tremendous mapping talent and some amazing scripters. Our network engineers
yeah,
are top notch for getting multiplayer sorted out. And yeah, like I say, they all come from the same community. So there's that mutual trust and respect. And it is always a real treat and a real privilege for me to just kind of watch the work, really watch them creatively come up with these ideas, and just being like, okay, these are your ideas, let's execute on these, let's get them planned out, and let's make that dream that you have a reality. Let's do it.
absolutely.
And that's what they were able to come up with. There's some amazing maps in the new campaigns. So I'm really looking forward to seeing people who are only used to the original Heretic and Hexen maps
Right, yes.
go through these and be like, wow, these buildings are big.
So zooming out, as a producer, what's your role on a project like this? I know we chatted a bit offline about you being a little more hands off with this one, but like, so what? Yeah, for the audience, what does a producer do? Because that is a very broad
Uh-huh.
term in both film
Yes.
and games, and the, you wear a lot of hats. But if you wanted to paint me a little picture of your role on as a producer on this project.
Yes, my overall being a producer is a little bit of being a pain in the butt, telling you, "Hey, you've got to get these things done by this point."
Mhm,
But let me take a step back from that. So,
sure.
a producer will, or a project manager,
Yeah.
the terms can be sort of intersected a few times, but the ultimate goal is to sit down with the team and work out what exactly it is they want to do,
Mhm,
and then we work out how long those are going to take the team. So, this set of sprites might take a month to make. We want to make 8 levels for this campaign. Okay, well, how much do you suspect each level is going to take? We break that down by weeks, and then we work out the cost, and then there may be some features in there that we're like, well, we don't really have time for that, and that can be kind of truer as you go through the process if there are setbacks, which a lot of times there can be. It's never easy. Somebody might not feel very well that week. Things might sort of slip and fall behind, so you've got to kind of course correct as you go in, and make it very clear to all parties who's working on what,
mhm,
and if things are still on track. So that's my job then, to report to the higher ups, hey, yes, this project is going fine, or hey, we've had one or two setbacks, but I think the guys say they might be able to be okay still with this time frame. And then that can go to, actually, no, we're not fine. We need to put the brakes on this a little bit. And then it can sort of go, oh my goodness, no, there's been an absolute disaster. We need to stop. We need to evaluate and reassess things. But that is a rarity that obviously hasn't really happened with this project at all. It's been very, very smooth sailing, because the team had a great idea of what they wanted to do from the start. So getting that all sorted out was fantastic. But then there's other aspects of it as well. Like, you'll be talking to different teams as well, including the testing team, and you'll be working between the testing team and the devs to work out, hey, is this a bug or is this a feature? Did you intend for this to happen or not? And then they might turn around and say, oh yeah, that's totally meant to happen, or it's not meant to happen, but we'll keep it a secret, for people
mhm,
who are in the know,
mhm,
or oh, that's not supposed to happen at all. So then you have to communicate back to the the QA department, hey, this isn't an issue, don't worry about it. And then but we've had a great team for that as well. I've been working very closely with Bethesda's
Mhm.
internal QA as well for that, and they've been absolutely fantastic throughout the project as well. So
Nice.
that's really what my function is. I guess I organize some meetings as well. I will sit in multiplayer sessions, if we need a co-op partner to go through the campaign. And I am quite pleased with some of the issues I find, because a lot of the best issues sometimes that you find are completely unintentional. You'll get pushed by something and you'll fall down a cliff, but because you got pushed by something, maybe a certain flag wasn't set in the engine somewhere, and
Right.
then when you hit the bottom of this cliff, it's like, oh, now the game's in a potentially unexpected state, and the whole thing could fall apart. And everyone was like, well, what happened? And then one thing I keep in my mind personally is, what am I going through? Like, sort of mentally recording everything I'm doing. Like, well, I picked up that thing and then I tried this and then it crashed. And then people will want to know, well, how did that happen? And then, I've gotten very good at remembering the exact stages. So
Yeah.
that really depends on how much maybe flexibility you have within a team. A lot of teams have very set roles, and no, you don't really deviate from outside of those roles as possible. But heck, I just love getting my hands dirty quite a lot of the time with just playing
Nice.
the games. And if we need to get into a death match, or a campaign, I'll run around and shoot you with my laser wand. And if we need co-op buddies, then yeah, I can hang around and help diagnose some issues. So I've always got time for that. So that's been basically my role on this project. I'm not too deep in with the lore or the really under the hood gameplay changes, but
Right.
the overall sort of top down view
Yeah. You're
is
playing
what
you're
I
playing a
really have.
management sim. You're doing a management
Ye-
sim and
Effectively, yes.
getting paid to do
Yeah.
so. It's
Yeah.
it's Dwarf Fortress except with night dive characters. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Like I say, watching these incredible people do what they love doing, and
Yeah.
it's always a treat to watch them do that.
Um being a fully remote team, is your job easier or harder?
um, in some aspects it's easier, and in some aspects it's not easier. So if we have, for say, an emergency, it might be 5 o'clock p.m. my time, for
Mm,
example, and there might be, an emergency that we need to get solved. Not that I would say that it happened on this project, but this is
yeah.
just like a hypothetical sort of
Yes.
thing. So there
Yes.
might be something at 5 o'clock my time, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh man, we've got a build due the next day. What do we do here?" And then I might want to contact somebody, but it might be 4 in the morning for them. So there has to be a fair level of understanding where people live and respecting the personal boundaries. So if
Yeah.
if people, you can drop people a message, but don't be surprised if they don't really respond to you straight away. And that is something, when you're in a remote office, that you just kind of have to accept. You have to put that call out there and you just have to leave it alone, because somebody might be doing something, you have no idea. It might be important. They might just be out grocery shopping. You don't really
Yep.
know. So in that you have to be kind of careful about. But yeah, working remote does have its benefits as well. I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about the commute. Everything that you really would expect from working at home. But it does need a fair amount of, I would say, discipline.
Yep.
You do have to say, all right, I am working from these hours, and you have to be careful not to overrun as well. One thing that I found myself falling into the trap of quite frequently is overworking. I will look at the clock and it will be 9 p.m. maybe,
Yeah.
and then I'll look down and then I'll look back up and I'm like, oh, oops, it's now 2 in the morning. What
Yep.
happened? I should
Yep.
probably stop working, and oh yeah, I've not eaten, so yeah, go cook some food.
Yes.
um yeah, that's the main thing. So, but yeah, we've been doing this for, I mean, I actually checked my contract when I was hired. I was hired 12 years and 1 month ago. um and so doing that for the past 12 years, you do learn a thing or two. But yeah, just be wary of what situation other people are in, but also keep reminding yourself of what situation you're in, and what times. Don't go silly and burn like crazy hours just to try and meet some crazy deadline, because it's not really good for you. It's better to be sensible.
yeah, the thing I always have to tell myself is the work will always be there. And
Yeah.
I yeah, I've been working from home, yeah, same, around 12, 13, 14 years now, and I find that when you're working on something, uh, and it's common throughout, I find, developers, designers, again, lots of people in the creative field, where if you're jamming on something and you get some momentum, you just want to keep going and keep going because it feels good, and you're getting, the dopamine receptors are hitting. And
Yeah.
but then that's where you run into the balance thing where you're like, oh yeah, it is 2 a.m. and I should stop, because
Yep.
that's on you at that point. So a little bit of give
Yeah,
and
it
take.
really
So,
is.
well, it's
Yeah.
interesting to hear your perspective on that, because um, I'm just always curious chatting with everybody with how everyone handles that, and like you mentioned, the time zone thing is yeah. I think there's a maturity to that too. In this day and age, people have lost that sense of, what would you say, like, it's not privacy, but just like boundaries. You know what I mean? The sense of boundaries being like you're always there, always answering. And I think having that
Yeah.
maturity to say, hey, no, I'm not answering stuff right now. And I like that. I
Yes.
think that's important, because then you don't burn out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all thanks to these
Yes,
things,
yes,
it's
yes,
because
exactly.
you can install Discord on your phone. I think you can install Slack on your phone. I think there are so many apps to keep in communications now, but and it also is there are cross boundaries, because you can use Discord for work and for meeting your friends to play games. So it's like, where do you draw the line? And you really
Mhm.
kind of have to do it yourself, I feel. So there is a feature on these phones where if you turn them upside down, they will not buzz anymore. And once I do that, I'm like, yep, that phone is not buzzing anymore. I am not
Nice.
paying any more attention to this. I am going to bed, or I am going to cook spaghetti bolognese, or something
Yes.
else.
I'm gonna go play a game. That isn't work. No, that's awesome, man. I think, yeah, of the projects I've worked on and helped with, Heretic and Hexen has been the one that I've had the least experience with. And what a surprise. Yeah, surprise. I don't know if surprise is the word. It's just like, feels like such a cool, fresh homecoming of a Doom gets all the love and all the press and all of that, and I think I'm excited for Heretic and Hexen to get their sort of day in the sun. I think
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Yeah, and it's been given the usual night dive care and attention to detail that we always like to do with these kinds of games. So it runs buttery smooth. It has that
Yeah.
feeling of you've just downloaded the game off Steam or whatever, and you find you go onto a website and you find a source port or something similar, and then you spend hours configuring it yourself and getting all that stuff sorted out. the, but that is how when you go into that kind of experience, you have a certain feel for it. You think, oh yeah, this plays really smooth, the controls are just how I
Yeah.
want. And that's the feeling that we've always really wanted to have with our ports. And I think we've definitely done a good job there again with just getting that smooth feeling as well. It's up to 144 hertz, or I think the consoles now do 120
Mhm.
FPS, based on variable refresh rate and things like that. But we've also got a fair amount of new things in there as well. We've got online, we've got cross-platform
Yes.
play, we've got co-op, we have deathmatch for up to 16 players.
And that's
It
absurd.
just
When Edward told me that, I was just like, "What?"
Yeah, I'm like, Edward, how do you do it? How do you do it? I don't know how he
I don't
does it,
even
but he
ask
does.
anymore. I just let the wizard do his things.
Yeah, let the wizard cast his spell,
Mhm.
absolutely. And we've got a new soundtrack in there. You may
Oh
be
yeah.
familiar with Andrew Holschultz, who worked on the Doom stuff for us on that project. Well, he's back and he's doing some stuff for Heretic and Hexen. and it is sounding phenomenal once again. He's really done a
Awesome.
fantastic job, and it really does set a mood when you're going through these levels and these caverns and these caves and these huge architectural buildings. You're like, wow, yeah, it really does set the mood. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to hearing and seeing people's reactions from that as well.
Yeah, what a treat. The first when that music selector popped up, I got so excited as it's like it's just the first thing you see when you start the game. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, that was
we've got it.
that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, we've got a huge vault section as well. We did a
Yeah.
vault. That is one thing now that we do for our games. We put in a vault section, which is basically a collection of all the materials that we can get a hold of, either through official means or through other channels. Websites might have saved images.
Mhm.
There's trailers knocking about on some really old websites, and we tend to try and save those before they're lost because surprising what you think. There are some files on the internet that sometimes they really don't last forever. They can disappear.
Yep.
I've known that firsthand. Somebody came to me just the other day for, hey, you used to have a website and you have these files on them. Do you still have them? And I was like, oh my goodness, no, I don't. I lost them. And nobody else had a backup. So they're kind of gone now. And we're trying to restore them. So that's just clearly important. We don't want to lose that stuff, obviously. And it's just interesting for other people to see the history behind these things,
Mhm.
where they came from. Some of the very earliest trailers, they can be like a postage stamp size on the screen
Yes.
in terms of resolution, but it's part of that game's history, and it's always a shame when that stuff is lost. So we're definitely making steps to not lose that stuff anymore. And so there's a lot of stuff contained in the Heretic and Hexen vault as well. You can find absolutely all sorts. There's unused sprites in there. There's concept art. There's really a whole bunch of stuff. And depending on how much we can actually find per game, the amount varies. But I think we have a fairly sizable chunk of stuff in this re-releases vault.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's a lot of the reason why I'm doing these interviews because I think the work you guys are doing is important and should be saved because if only we had the original developers chatting. I know we got to do that on System Shock a little bit. We didn't get everybody, but it's just nice to have the perspective of the people working on the game. So I like to have that sort of as a time capsule as well. And it's been like selfishly rewarding because I get to poke around in everyone's brain and see what makes them tick and hear about all the fun little things that went well and didn't go well. So yeah, what a great thing that you guys are doing with the vaults too. I think that's such an important step in game preservation, and what team better to do it than you guys. So I
Yeah,
got a
I'm
couple.
really pleased
Yeah.
with. Oh, sorry. I'm really pleased with everything, just how the final package came together. And like I've said, working with Bethesda and their team was absolutely
Mhm.
a fantastic experience. And yeah, I'm really hoping that people enjoy the re-release. Thank you so much for giving it a purchase. I'm pretty sure you will not be let down, and enjoy the brand new campaigns that we have to offer as well. We think there's a great time in store there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Daniel, for your time chatting about Heretics plus Hexen and your role as the producer. I really appreciate your thoughts, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a fun time. Thanks very much.
You bet. All right. Well, that does it for this episode of Deep Dive. And once again, on behalf of myself and Daniel, this is Locke saying good night.